Okay, and then at this time you are at the Bethel side. The youth were they meeting?
Yes, we were that now what they call the Bethel Sanctuary. At that time it was the only sanctuary. And during that time, what they call the NMC, they had started planning how to build it, or now where it is today. Today, it was a bunch of rooms. Back then, it was a bunch of rooms that used to be like Sunday schools, that used to be homes of people. So those things were really obliterated. Actually, the church was built on top of those buildings. So where the hall is downstairs, I don't know, is it called the hall? The
Children's Tabernacle.
Children's Tabernacle. And next to it is the Sunday schools. Now, those Sunday schools used to be those existing Sunday school rooms, just single-story rooms. And so the church, the pillars were built on top of them. And it was like a space we used to walk around there.
How was the experience in the mood when you were building the NMC at that time?
Interesting, because as the pastor's child, I could go and watch. So during construction time, I would walk there and actually walk inside the whole church. I remember walking through the whole church from the toilets downstairs when there were nothing, like when there were just substructure to now what it is now. The empty, even the sound room. I know you're wondering, sound room, what is that? That brings me back to one of the things that I used to do when I was in the youth and very active. I became very involved in the sound ministry. In the Bethel Sanctuary, at the back there's like a room called the sound room. It was where we used to have the mixer and the tape recorders. It was a small room that we used to squeeze ourselves in. That window which you see from the sanctuary is where we used to control the sound from. So that is what I involved myself from my later years in youth. So from around 16 years old to much older, to around 20s, I was involved in the youth, in the sound ministry. But when we moved to the NMC, I wasn't involved there as much, because I think by that time a lot of transition had happened. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing the brief history of where the church has come from. Maybe now back to you. At that time in Saints, what was your vision, or what did you want to be? Did you have your career path?
Okay, so I really wasn't sure what I wanted to be honest. When I finished primary school, I had gone for an interview at Strathmore, but I didn't make it. One of the things my father had written in my application was that he's very technical and dismantles things. He loves to dismantle things and build things, which is actually true, because I used to tinker a lot. I've tinkered with so many things, and so that started leading me towards a path of I like doing stuff with my hands, like if it's wiring or stuff like that. And to bring that story, connecting that long story and now where we are, is that I think my father feels that I should have followed a more technical path, either in computers or technical, TVET, some electronic something of sorts. And he actually admits that it's my mother who pushed me to be more book-oriented. So back to my story of where I used to be in sound ministry, is that I didn't reach the level of working with Youth for Christ, and actually not working, but volunteering, but being their sound. I developed myself to be handling what you guys are doing right now, the decks, the decks, and I could very easily have landed in production had I taken it seriously. So one time I finished, so I was close to that time the former Youth for Christ director. He's one who had brought in this large sound equipment. At that time they had access to, he had a lot of networks. So he brought in a huge sound equipment, speakers, mixer, the latest Allen and Heath mixer at that time, and amplifier. So we had the whole shebang. When guys like Live Gigs were operating sound, we were at their level, and we were teenagers at that time. I say we because we were a number of guys. Some of them you may know, but I'm not talking about their names right now. But we had encouraged a number of us to be working in this thing together. So the then director came to me when I'd finished Form 4 and said, hey, I know you guys will look at me at this point and wonder what's wrong with this guy. He came and approached me and said, at that time, Youth for Christ were very involved in ministry, locally and out in the US. So they'd come together with a band of people and they'd go for like 9 months at a time, singing and ministry out there in the US. So he came to me and said, oh, by the way, Mwema, would you like to join us to the US and you can do the mixing, the sound? And I said, I am moving towards my international baccalaureate program, so let me just focus on that for now. That was one missed opportunity. The next opportunity came 2 years later when I was finishing IB and about to join university. And he came back to me and said, oh, there's another team going. Would you still like to join us again? And I actually said no. But I said, there's this friend of mine who she can do this sound thing, so she can join you.
Why did you...
Why did I say no? I said, well, I think because my mind had been programmed that, at that time, how can I put it this way? I have kids now. The focus on children is so different. Our children are very exploratory. One child says, I want to do photography. Another child says, I want to do this abstract. Another child says, I want to do this. Now, we were born in a time when our parents would tell us, or we were guided, not necessarily our parents, we were told education is key. We even had a song, and I'm going to sing it in Kiswahili. So many vijana, mwisho wa kusoma, I can't remember the rest, but it was more like, if you read, you will go far, and when you go far, you will be able to succeed in the job that you're in. So our minds were programmed within the environment of that time that you're geared towards. You'll be successful if you read and study and go a particular career path. And that time the career paths were either like, the blue collar, engineering, doctor, aviation. So at time I thought about maybe being a pilot. But I made a choice. I said, hey, I'm the firstborn here. My parents are just humble pastors. So, that dream of pilothood, pilothood, I was like, can be a bit expensive. I put it aside. And so, those are some of the choices. I look back and I wonder, did I make the choices that I really wanted, really wanted in life?
So you at that point, what did you end up choosing?
So I joined the university and ended up joining business administration and management. I figured, well, I'm still interested in doing something of that I can call my own and, be venturing in different things. So let me do something that can cut across all aspects. So I did BA and management.
Which university?
USIU, at United States International University. And
How was that experience?
I think it just passed. By that time, it's just a place I went to do my work, to study and do what I needed to do. I think because by that time I had already established my relationships, my friendships, through the years that I'd had in the different institutions I've been in. I really didn't focus very much. I mean, in terms of outside of studying, friendships, not really. I mean, even till now, I think I only picked up one friend from USIU. I don't bump across people very much from there. But to say, I mean, so that to establish more of what I am saying, right now as I speak, I mean, several groups, many of which have started. My 1995 primary school group, which has over 60 people, and we talk every day. My phone is busy with messages coming and talking. We talk, we meet up, we talk to each other, and we support each other in many different ways. And they really have worked with me. Another one I'm also in is my Saints group of 99. We still talk. They also support in many different ways. And also the wider St. George's group of many different years. We talk regularly. So the two groups I'm really involved in are the St. George's primary groups. And also we talk once in a while to my IB group guys. So along the years we have I've established those relationships to keep talking to my old, especially schoolmates. And but USIU is a place I didn't really do much of that.
Connect with many people there.
Yeah, honestly.
So did you join work after that, or?
Yes, actually I did. Soon after university I got internship. Where was this? Internship was with a friend, an elder of the church, and a good friend of mine till now, Sheki. He started a company for building, and because I'd always been interested in something in construction, one way or the other. I remember I mentioned about going to NMC to watch guys construction. I've always enjoyed doing that, like watching construction. I joined him. He's had this company of what do you call this? Building fast homes in like 2 weeks. And it included Moladi product from South Africa. You build a house in a panel and you use concentrate and you just set up the structure, and before you know it, in a day or two, you've set up after the foundation, the structure, and you just pour the concrete and you have your superstructure soon after that. So this is old memories. I'm trying to recall this as I'm going along, but I joined an internship with him for about 11 months, and that's how I began my walk into career, into working life.